Welcome back to Well-Oiled Operations. Today, we're talking about being fast and being decisive and how that is a skill set you 1000% need to master if you are going to be a successful business owner that grows quickly. Okay. So I've seen people that are not decisive and I've seen them have successful businesses, but they'll admit it has taken me a while to get here. Okay. So we were on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America last year. We applied this year. Our application showed 5 times our gross revenues. Like we 5x'd it. And it's legit. You have to turn in your tax returns or you have to have your CPA actually vouch for those numbers. Like they don't mess around. So we're growing so fast. And people are always like, Stacy, how are you doing this? And I tell people, I am quick. I make fast decisions. Okay. Now, what's scary to me is I'll hear business owners say things like, I actually have heard these real phrases recently, which made me think I've got to do a training on this. So somebody recently said, it was like a Friday and they were maybe going to invest in our program. And they said, well, I only make money making decisions on a Monday. Okay. Monday is, in her opinion, like the best day to make those decisions. And here's the deal. She might be right. That really could be a real thing that I am unaware of. Okay. And Monday could be the best day. But if you're going to be a business owner and you're only going to make decisions on Mondays, and I make decisions 7 times a week, like 7 days a week or 5 days a week, let's just say 5 days a week, and you make it 1 day a week, I am going to go 5 times as fast as you. So you have to understand, right? If you're thinking like, well, I like to sit on, big decisions. I like to think about things for a day. I like to sleep on things. I like to take a week, right? Whatever it is, okay? You have no idea. You have no idea how that behavior is slowing down your success. Okay. So we built the home that we live in. Actually, this is my second house that I've actually built. And I actually love the home building process. A lot of people don't. And the reason they don't is because there's so many decisions. And it was funny. We were in the office with the designer, and the designer said, okay, so this is how it's going to go down. We are going to set up 4 4-hour sessions where we hang out and you pick out every single piece of the home, right? Like the paint on the wall, the carpet or hardwood floors, which one, right? Things like that. And I said, 16 hours, like that's crazy, right? And she was like, trust us, we're the experts. We do this all the time. Like this is what we see. Like it really truly takes about 4 of those sessions. And I was like, okay, like trusting her, right? And then 3.5 hours in, we were completely done with the entire house. She wasn't impressed. She was nervous. She was like, listen, Stacy, there's no reason to rush this. I want you to love your home. I want you to love it for a long, long time. So maybe we need to slow this down a little bit. And I was like, listen, I know what I want. I know what I'm going for, right? So when you show me, like, do I want cherry cabinets or do I want white cabinets? I know the answer. I don't have to sleep on that. I don't have to take time to think about that, right? So when I look at that and I then relate it back to business, right? I find that business owners are slow to make decisions because they're really just unclear of what they want, right? When I can look at a cherry cabinet and I can look at a white cabinet, I already have the idea of the house I'm building. I've already like scoured Pinterest. I've got the vision board. I know what I want. So when I saw the white cabinets, I'm like, those are the cabinets. When I saw the floors, I was like, that's the color of the floors on my vision board, right? I know what I want so I can make decisions fast. So I'm in my home now. It'll be 9 years in April that we moved in. And I still love it. I love everything about it. I love everything we've picked out. And I think that's where we go wrong. We think quick means careless. We think quick means mistakes. Not necessarily, right? Because the better you become at decision making, the more you're going to hit the nail on the head, right? Like, no, in the beginning, I might have not had the greatest taste. And I realized that doesn't go with this color, right? But as I make more and more decisions, right, I start to get smarter. I start to get wiser. I told you I built 2 houses. The first house, I learned a few things. I was like, I'm definitely not going to do that in the second house, right? So we made sure to fix that. Same thing with our commercial buildings. We now have 3 of them. Every time we go to remodel or do something, we're so much smarter than before. So I can make faster decisions. Give yourself credit. You aren't the same person you were, right? You are not the same person you were 6 months ago, 6 years ago. You are getting stronger. So your decision-making skills should be getting quicker. If a business owner is slow, a lot of times they don't have the end goal in mind, or the end goal is just not crystal clear. They're a little wishy-washy. They're like, well, we could hit 750 next year, or we could stay where we're at 550. Like, well, we could do this, or we could try to do that. And then the wishy-washiness is where it's like, what's the answer? Okay. So this is, I believe, the key to being faster. Number one, it's know what you want, right? Know what you want. And once you're clear, write it down and commit, make it permanent. So we're in my office right here. I have a huge whiteboard right over there, and it says my 2024 on the top with my 3 big goals. Okay. You guys, that will not be touched until the end of 2024 when I'm rewriting next year. So by having it crystal clear on the whiteboard, knowing I'm not going to touch it, right? You need more commitment with what you're doing. Okay. Now, number 2 is seeing it, visualizing it, right? And making decisions to get you closer to it. So I am constantly asking myself, when I get hit or pitched on an opportunity, I look at the goals and I say, will that make me get there faster? Is that going to condense my time? Is it going to get me to those results? And it's a quick yes or no. So I can get hit with a million different opportunities on Instagram, my email inbox, right? People are pitching me all day, every day. And I can look at it and quickly go, nope. Oh, this is interesting. That could work. That could get me there, right? And all of a sudden, it's just really easy to say yes or no. So one of the reasons I think I have grown so fast, right, is because I just very quickly make that decision on the spot. Okay. So again, I'm not careless. I'm quick because I'm clear. Okay. So what I'm telling you is I'm very, very decisive. Now, let's say this. I'm looking into new opportunities all the time. I'm interviewing people all the time. I don't want to like string anybody along in an interview. I want to know yes or no, am I moving forward with this person, right? Like when I jump off a call, off of an interview number 1, this is what I do. If I'm going to move forward with this person and I really like them, I immediately at the end of the call invite them to a second interview. I do not say, okay, thanks so much. We'll get back to you and let you know. And then like I put it on my to-do list and then I'm going to email them tomorrow. No. If I'm moving forward, I immediately say, because I know that fast, is this a yes or no? I have my questions written out. I know what I'm looking for. I know what red flags are. Again, I'm clear. You might not be able to do that quite yet because you're just not clear on what's a red flag. Is this a red flag? Right? People in Well-Oiled come to us and they'll say, she said this. Is this a red flag? Right? Now, I've interviewed, I think we have like 30 employees in Well-Oiled. We have like 40 maybe at the studio. So I have 70 employees. I've been interviewing for 18 plus years. I've been in business 21, but I don't think I had employees for like the first 3. So 18 years, I've been interviewing. Trust me, I know what's a red flag and what's not. The more reps I have, the faster I can move, right? So this is why you want to be decisive, because when you're decisive, you get a chance for more reps. The more reps you get, the stronger you get. Some of you are not putting in the reps. You're going slow. So it's taking you longer to get there, right? So on the interview, I'm either moving forward, or instead of like saying right to their face, we're not going to move forward, I do say to that person, all right, thanks so much. I have a few more interviews today, and then I'll be emailing you next steps, or my assistant will be emailing you over next steps and like what that looks like, if we'll be moving forward or not. And then there's a system of like, here's what you need to send him at the end of the day. And then I've already moved forward and invited this person to the next interview. Okay. On the call, I make the decision. If I go to look into a new program, right? Like I'm always investing in like certain programs that I need that skill set. And a lot of times buy high ticket programs. Usually you have to get on a consult to buy a high ticket program. Anything over like $2,000, somebody's probably going to make sure you're a good fit and talk to you on the phone. Okay. So I'll jump on one of these calls and literally I either buy on that call or I don't buy it. There is no, let me think about it. I need to sleep on this. On the call, I say to myself, is this going to help me hit my goals faster than what I'm currently doing? If the answer is yes, I'm buying it. If I have any hesitation, I don't jump off the call and think about it. I ask the person in front of me, here's my hesitation. This program is this much. Am I really going to make my return? Am I really going to, like, I will ask those questions. Once I have that knowledge, it's a yes or no. Never, ever do I need a second call about anything unless I forgot to ask a specific question, which rarely happens, right? Because again, when I exercise this muscle, I know what to ask. I know what I'm looking for, right? So this is huge. Okay, let's talk about I need to think about it. Okay. I hear this from managers sometimes, right? Hey, what should we do? You know what? Let me think about that. And what we're doing is just like and definitely hear from business owners, but we're racking up the things we have to like think about later. And what's really interesting when you say to yourself, let me think about that, right? I just really need to process it. Okay. What's really, really interesting is if I said to you, I just got new logos in, right? We're rebranding our Well Oiled Operations logo. I'm so excited. And the designer just gave me like 25 different logos and colors and variations and all of it. Okay. Now, if I email her back and I say, okay, I just need to think about it. All right. Here's what happens. Let's say I tell her I need to think about it for a week. Okay. So if I did a time audit that week, would I see myself like spending like an hour here thinking about my logo and then an hour there thinking about the logo? And then, no, here's what happens. When we say I need to think about it and we pick this imaginary date of next week, here's what we do. We don't think about it all week. And then we're like, oh, shoot, I have that call tomorrow with my designer. I need to quickly look at this and make a decision. Okay. You delaying the answer. You thinking I'll answer later. I see this with email all the time. Oh, I'll get back to them. And then you don't. And then the email just goes down, 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 down. You don't even see it's there anymore, right? Do you really have to think about it? Or do you just need to set aside time right now or tomorrow or whenever it is to say, okay, like for instance, what did I do with the logos? Okay. I glanced at all of the logos. I made my initial gut reaction of that's the logo for me. I like that one. Okay. Now, I personally am not going to pick my logo just based off of what I want. I would like some input from some other people. So here is my next step of I looked at it. I immediately grasped, I like that one, but I'm not going to tell anybody. And now I want an unbiased opinion. So the team is like crafting like basically a compilation of these with like numbers, right? And the team is going to vote privately for their top whatever. Okay. So we're going to look at that and see like, oh, is there wow, like these are the top 5. Like that's interesting, right? So we may then go to social media and put up those top 5 and ask you guys, what do you think, right? So I'm gathering market research here. I'm actually doing something. I'm not just thinking, air quotes, thinking about it. I'm actually gathering data to make the decision. Okay. There is a difference between me doing things actively to get to the decision versus me saying to my designer, okay, great, I'm going to think about it. And then she's like, okay, we have to finalize it next week. And then 5 minutes before our call, I go on there and I pick it and I tell her. There was no thinking about it. I made the decision just as fast if I were to do it in real time. Let that sink in because so many people think the thinking about it is helping. I'm going to sleep on it. Okay, so while you were sleeping, how much time were you focused on this? You weren't. You really are just basically saying, what's my gut reaction? Okay, a lot of times gut reactions don't change. I just watched Survivor. I love Survivor. They had this do or die challenge, and she had 3 boxes she can choose from. 1 had the symbol she wanted, and 2 didn't. Okay. And she's like, okay, I've got my first one, and then I got my backup plan. And she's like, I'm going to go with my gut. Okay. So she goes with her gut, picks it. He shows a different one that was not the one she wanted, thankfully. Right. And he goes, okay, you can keep the one you said, or you can go with this one. She has the opportunity to change her gut reaction. And she's like, oh no, I'm sticking with my gut. Good thing she did because it was the right one. Okay. My point is, if you need to sleep on something to go with your gut reaction, most of the time, your gut reaction is no different than it was yesterday. So if I go with my gut instinct on the logo, I know what it is. When I wake up tomorrow and I go with my gut again, it's 9 times out of 10, it's the same thing. So every time you take up this mental space, right, of thinking about things, you're just slowing yourself down. You're slowing the business down. So I want to ask you, do you catch yourself doing this at all? Whether it's an email, in firing somebody, like, oh, he's doing horrible, but let's just give him another week. Another week goes by, he did worse than last week. Well, I just like, he was good at one point, so let's just give him a few more days. Let me just think about this. Like, we already know what's happening, right? In the inevitable. Stop procrastinating decision-making. Time is not a luxury that business owners have. We just don't have it. And you thinking about things is a waste of your time. Okay. So this conversation actually came up because One of our people on our sales team said, I have a really hot lead. We're jumping on her third call today to see if it's a good fit. Okay. And I was like, wait, what? You're her third call? What do you mean her third call? Right. She's like, well, she likes to think about it. Right. She likes to. So here's what I had said to my team. I said, I don't think this person's a good fit for our program. And here's why. Because you have to implement in our program to get results. Like, I'm just stating the obvious here, right? And if this is how long it's taking her to move forward, she's not going to like our program. Because you know why? She's going to come in, she's going to hear all these amazing strategies, and she's going to have to think about those strategies. And then she's not going to see results because she's not actually implementing. So I would actually tell her today on the call, like if she comes on and she still has questions and she's still not sure, I would take that as a sign of she's not ready because she's not decisive, right? And that is just showing up as a really negative thing where she's going to slow herself down. And unfortunately, I see this time and time again. They don't realize it's them. They blame us. They're like, well, you haven't opened the program. Was it the program didn't work or you didn't sign in? You know what I'm saying? So this is where you got to be really, really careful. Are you letting these types of people buy from you? Are you having problems with these types of clients that eventually buy, but they take 6 times, right? Things to be thinking about. And we always tell people like that too. All of our amazing testimonials you've seen that you're comparing yourself to, like, will I get results? Well, she made this and she made 30,000 in 30 days and she made, 5 times her revenue back. Okay. But we always tell people, not lying. Those people, they're doers. They're action takers. They listen to our feedback and they implement it. Okay. They are not procrastinators. They are not perfectionists. They are moving forward. Like they are moving at lightning speed. Okay. So that's what I want you to understand, right? So we tell people that to go just double check in. Are we the right fit here? Okay. So if you're resonating with this in any way, you realize, am I procrastinating? Am I a little bit of a perfectionist? Am I avoiding making decisions, having hard conversations, hiring, firing, all of that, right? If any of that, if any part of that is resonating with you, I want you to really realize and let it sink in. This is something I need to work on. The good news is you don't have to have the identity of a perfectionist. You don't have to keep that. That can be something you used to be, not anymore. Okay. Sometimes business owners are slow to act, slow to make a move, slow to do anything, right? Because they've been burned before. So maybe in the past, you have made decisions on the spot that didn't work out for you, or you fired somebody too fast and you paid for it, right? Or you hired somebody based on your gut, right? And it didn't go the way you wanted, right? So a lot of times you believe you have evidence that being quick has made bad decisions or has led to bad decisions, right? And that scares you, right? But what about it? Or what I want you to think about is, what if it wasn't that you were quick? What if it was that you didn't have enough knowledge at the time to make the right decision? Maybe at the time you didn't know much about hiring, right? We just had somebody say, I've already done the team thing. Like we got up to 5 people, then I like burned it all down and I went back to having an assistant. And she's like, I just don't know if I want to do this again. And I'm like, listen, it didn't work because you didn't know how to make it work. You just didn't know. It wasn't that you like quickly hired somebody. It was just you didn't have the skill set, right? So whatever you're procrastinating on, ask yourself, is there any part of you that just maybe doesn't have the skill set yet to do that, right? Like I can fire very, very quickly today. Back in the day, I never fired. I hated it. I didn't want to have that uncomfortable conversation. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But like today, I just feel differently. I have the knowledge of how much it's hurting the business, how much it's hurting the rest of the go-getters on the team. The A players don't want to work with B and C players, right? So because I have that knowledge, I can just move forward faster. I'm like, listen, we got to have a talk. Like this is important, right? So I really, really want you thinking about that. Is it that you were quick or were you missing something that you didn't have before, but maybe you have it now, or maybe you're getting help in that area and it's not going to be a problem. Okay. So the biggest takeaway I want you to hear is it's not that you made a quick decision and it backfired. It's you just didn't have the tools you needed on the spot to understand you weren't strong enough, right? To catch certain things on the spot, right? You missed the red flag in the hiring process, but you learned from that bad relationship what you want to be catching, right? When you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't do a reference check. if I would have done the reference track, that would have changed things. Now, like, do the reference check. You are stronger. You are not the same person, right? You are not the same person that made that decision 6 months ago, but you're judging yourself as you're bringing that story back up, right? You're not giving yourself credit. Like, I had a coach. It was awful. Why was it awful? Well, they were good at marketing, but they actually didn't like have a product. Okay, cool. So now do you like do more due diligence on the product? Yeah, I definitely do. Okay, great. You're stronger, right? Use this experience to build your confidence to help you move faster. Now, I told you about the logo and then I've got this process and I'm going to get you guys involved on social media. We're going to post some things on Instagram. We're going to post inside of our members area where all of our clients are. I want to get their feedback. It'll be interesting to see too. Do my current clients like the same thing as my social media, right? Which one will have more sway? What about my current employees versus, current clients, things like that. But anyway, I want to go back to that because that was like a long drawn out process and that might have given you more reason to go, oh, okay, if I just keep busy, then I can extend it. Okay. So here's what I'll tell you. Like I said before, my gut, I picked out a logo. Okay. I can pick it out fast. Why? Because it's just a logo. And I don't think that there's like a wrong logo out of the one that out of the 20 the designer gave me, I think I could probably pick any of them, even if I don't like them. I could probably pick any of them and make money with them. Right. And it's so funny because I've had people say to me, well, I'm still designing the logo. It's a 90-day project. And it's like, you're wasting so much time and energy on something that's not going to change the dollar amount. It's not going to change how much revenue you bring in. Right. It's not going to be like, oh, her logo's got yellow in it. I don't really like yellow. I don't think I'm going to buy the program. Nobody has ever not bought our program because of what our logo looks like. Do you see what I'm saying? So sometimes we like to slow things down and we like to take our time. But what you're not realizing is while you're spending 90 days on a logo, you're missing out on things you could be doing that could actually be moving your business along and growing your business substantially, right? So the longer you spend on any decision, the less time you get to spend on money-making decisions. So what if this year's version of you as a business owner, what if you put on the decisive hat? You are no longer a perfectionist. You are somebody who makes quick decisions. You know where you're going. You know what you want. You become the best gatekeeper of any new idea. And I say gatekeeper, I literally mean you're at the gate and somebody's pitching you, do you want to come on my podcast? And you decide that's not going to help me move faster. You don't even talk to my current clientele. So I'm going to say no to that, right? Versus like, wow, you want me to go on your podcast and be in front of 300 of my ideal clients? Yes, I would like that. Do you see the difference? You decide with every opportunity that comes your way, is it a yes or is it a no? And you should instantly know the answer. Instantly. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. But the faster you get, the more opportunity you give to make decisions, the more you're going to exercise that muscle and the stronger you're going to get. And I'll tell you this, when you hear a new idea and it's like the quickest yes or no you've ever made, you will cruise towards your goals at lightning speed.